stress is really about a mismatch. And so it's about a mismatch between an event and what our resources or capabilities are. And when there's a gap and there's a discrepancy between that, where we don't have enough resources to meet the demands of an event, that's when we end up with stress. It's an automatic response. Our body is detecting some kind of a threat and it's reacting to that. And so our body really revs up and gets going. And as a function of that, if that continues and the stress stays in our lives for a bit, what can end up happening is that we can end up having increased moodiness, increased irritability. We can end up with sleep difficulties. We can end up with compromised immune response. So we can actually get sick a little bit more easily, have a little bit of a harder time recovering from being sick. But we also know that sometimes we don't have control over the stressor. It's outside of our hands. In that case, I think the things that can be really helpful is to work, number one, on just building up capacity where we can and where it's realistic for us. So that might be the things like really working on sleep, or really working on some exercise, or really working on trying to eat as well as we can, putting in some breaks and some limits where possible. There's also a set of strategies that can be really helpful in the moment for things that we can't change. We think about those as kind of acceptance-based strategies. And those are things like breathing exercises, things like meditation, mindfulness, even reframing how we think about the situation. Often, but not always, stressors are temporary. And so being able to remind ourselves, yep, this is really hard, this really stinks, but it's temporary. All of those things can help bring down stress and be really helpful. And I think the last thing is across the board, whether the stressor is something you have control over or you don't, really good social support is always something that can be helpful. And I want to be really clear about what I mean by good social support. That's the kind of person who's in your life who has that real balance between somebody who is caring, who really gets you and understands you, and who can also give you that nudge if they have that sense of like, boy, you're treating this like something that you really can't change, but I think there's actually some things you can do. And one of the tricky parts about stress is that lots of folks find it very uncomfortable and want all stress out of their life. But there's a downside to that because some kinds of stress can be actually helpful and useful. And what I think about is kind of the right size dose and for the right duration of time that it's really helpful.